coming. Ah! What will the Eagles do when Todd Bowles sends it big? Fran Duffy is going to tell us. We're going to hear from Zach Berman and much more coming up next on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast on a Thursday afternoon. Bo Wulf, Fran Duffy in studio. We'll hear from Zach Berman live from the NovaCare complex in a little bit. We'll close the show with Swooper, as we do on Thursdays. But we got a lot to get to as the Eagles prepare for their last game before the bye, a trip to Tampa Bay. We don't really know who's going to be playing for the Eagles.
Nope.
But we know, Fran, that Todd Bowles is going to send some heat.
Todd Bowles from
last year.
Which,
never fails. It's the best.
No, it's one of the all-time best locker room moments, as the longtime viewers of your shows will know.
How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. I had I checked off a life experience box yesterday.
Okay.
First root canal.
Oh.
2 root canals, yeah.
Oh, man. 2.
Hey, you know what? Wasn't that bad.
Really?
Wow,
what a flex.
It wasn't like fun, but it wasn't like on the scale of worst things in the world. It was. Phil, I would imagine that root canal technology has probably come a long way since it was, given the designation of like the worst thing in the world.
So was this an emergency type situation, or you knew it was coming?
No, I knew it was coming.
Okay.
The real sickos will remember I had that little like puffy face thing going on the other day.
Yeah.
It turns out it was a tooth issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's. Yeah.
They say the arc of tooth trauma is very long. Like when I was like 12 years old, I fell on some ice on my front 2 teeth, and they that's what they think it's from. It's like 25 years of trauma. I mean, it's a little on the nose that like childhood trauma comes up and bites you 25 years later.
Yeah, there's a lot there to unpack, but no, I'm glad that it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was fine.
Okay, all right.
They didn't even give me pain meds. I mean, I was hoping to give me something good. I got to live with Advil, 3 Advil every 4 hours. Come on, give me something good. Well, I was going to get something out of it.
I'm glad you made it out. Look, you experienced that. Zach and I had our fight with the balloons on Tuesday,
yes.
So I think we can call it even based off that.
Yeah, and shout out to Josh Molina for making it happen.
Of course, that was outstanding.
For Zach. I was hoping that Zach was going to be a little bit more excited, honestly.
He was touched. I could tell.
All right, let's talk Todd Bowles. Now, I think that this game is so interesting from a standpoint of, all right, first 3 weeks were one thing.
Yep.
Let's see what you really got, Kellen Moore, because I know that you watched the snuff film that was the playoff game this week, but. Listen, we don't know if they're going to have A.J. Brown or DeVonta Smith or Lane Johnson.
Yep.
Maybe Zach will give us a little bit more insight on that today. But all of those guys aside, you got to plan for a defense that has a history with Todd Bowles of really wanting to light up Jalen Hurts. You look at it, and by the way, thanks to Bet365 for being the presenting sponsor for this episode. It's never ordinary with our friends at Bet365. I want the people in the chat to remind me because I keep forgetting to say it at the top of the show. I have to say it at the top of the show, and I keep forgetting. I get too excited to talk about the birds and root canals. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Okay. Todd Bowles from last year.
Yes.
He has a reputation as a blitzer, but he's not the heaviest blitzer. The 5 games last season in which he blitzed on more than 50% of dropbacks, 2 of them were against the Eagles. The other 2 of them were against Bryce Young. So that tells you the regard that Todd Bowles held the Eagles' ability to pick up blitzes in last year. And the big story, right, is those big blitzes. And in the playoff game, Todd Bowles sent at least 6 pass rushers, according to True Media, 9 different times, and 8 of those plays were successful for the defense. And the other one was the 5-yard touchdown pass to Dallas Goedert by Jalen Hurts. The Eagles, we talked about, like, they're going to have to prove that they can defeat big blitzes this season, they still haven't seen that many. They've only seen 6 all year long, and they've only had 1 good play against those 6. That was the nice 4th down conversion to Dallas Goedert last week against the Saints. So knowing that the Eagles aren't going to have potentially their top 2 wide receivers, they might not have their star right tackle, knowing that Todd Bowles believes that he can get after Jalen Hurts with big blitzes, like, let's see what you got, Kellen Moore. Let's put a game plan together.
And there's a lot to unpack here because of the history with the matchup, with the new coaching staff on the Eagles side. The fact that, look, there's so many injuries on Tampa Bay's side that, to me, have impacted this defense's effectiveness in a big, big way. They're still blitzing at a pretty high rate. PFF had them as the 3rd most blitz-heavy team in football. They've sent, per True Media, the 2nd most big blitzes so far. I don't know if that matches the numbers that you saw, but I believe I've got them for 14 big blitzes so far this season. But they're all the way down at 20th in terms of pressure rate from there. And so right now, they're still blitzing at a high rate, but they're not getting home. And the defensive line on their own is also not getting home. And so I think this is a team that is missing some talent on the defensive side. That's why I was a little bit lower on them coming into the year. But schematically, you know that Todd Bowles, he's going to come in from an X's and O's standpoint, ready to try and mess with Jalen Hurts and with this offensive game plan and see if they're going to be ready to have answers to what he's going to bring.
All right, so you're Kellen Moore this week.
Yeah.
You're putting together this plan. Let's operate with the presumption that you're not going to have either A.J. Brown or DeVonta Smith.
Sure.
Okay, and probably not Lane Johnson either. What are you doing? Like, how do you put this game plan together?
Well, I think that there's 2 things. There's the blitzing aspect of dealing with the blitz, and then there's, all right, what is our game plan?
And it is like we're talking about it like it's a big deal, and that's 9 plays in one game, right? There are many more plays,
but typically high leverage plays.
But they're high leverage plays. Yes.
Yeah. So, and the big thing will be, because what we've seen from the Eagles through 3 games is that their answer for the blitz are these hot routes and these sight adjusts where, Jalen Hurts he knows, like, all right, of the 5 eligible receivers on this play, if there's going to be a blitz, if I think that there's going to be an extra rusher coming, rather than me getting heated up, I'm going to throw it to the slot running a quick little hitch route, or I'm going to throw it into the flat to Saquon Barkley, just knowing what is my easy outlet throw, and going back and rewatching that playoff game. I mean, those just did not exist in the offense a year ago. So last year, the answer against the blitz from that 2023 offense was go empty, spread them out, and just hope that one of my one-on-ones wins. Mm-hmm. And basically, it would be a predetermined throw for Jalen Hurts, where it was, okay, if I feel like I'm going to be pressured, I'm going to look at AJ. I'm going to look at DeVonta. I'm going to look at Dallas.
And they didn't even have AJ in that game.
And they did not have AJ in that game. And so it was tough sledding for that reason, going up against some of those big blitzes. Now, again, the Bucs they move on from Carlton Davis this offseason. So they're down a starting corner. They brought in Bryce Hall to be a starting corner. He goes down on injury reserve this summer. They're down Antoine Winfield Jr. They're down Vita Vea was not practicing for last week, didn't play last week. It looks like he might come back, but still coming off that knee injury. That's going to be tough. So they're going to be down some of their key players here, Tampa Bay. Can the Eagles take advantage? It's to me, that is going to be really big, certainly, for this game, is how do they have those answers for the blitz? So
specific blitz plan wise, like, what are you thinking? Like,
I honestly don't think it's any different than normal. I think it's more just, hey, it's the understanding and the communication of, if we feel like there's going to be a blitz, here's where your answer is on this given concept. Now, it does stand to note also, we talked about this in the show the other day, I put a lot on that first sack, that first 3rd down sack where the Eagles got beat on a blitz. It was the first time this year. Yeah, they were. And I said that was on Kenny Gainwell. Going back, I was going to write about the play for my offensive breakdown that's up now on allphly.com. And as I start writing about it, I start diving into the protection a little bit. I pulled a Lee Corso. I was like, not so fast, my friend. Just kind of looking, because you look at it, and Landon Dickerson opens up to Demario Davis, and they basically, he and Kenny Gainwell are both going to the same guy. So right off the bat, now alarm bell's going off for me, where I'm like, all right, those guys are not on the same page from a protection standpoint. And you could see before the snap, as Jalen's bringing Kenny Gainwell into the frame, as he's bringing him into the picture, because it was an empty backfield at first, Gainwell's flexed out, he's bringing Gainwell in, Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens are pointing at Demario Davis. And that, to me, is like Cam Jurgens is telling Landon, like, all right, you've got Davis. And then you see that Jalen is telling Gainwell, you've got Davis. So both guys are going to Davis. If the Eagles had done what I think Jalen was trying to do, where it was going to be a slide protection going the other way, Gainwell would have picked up the linebacker. You had 4 guys going the other way. There were 4 rushers coming that way. In theory, it should have been picked up, or at least would have been picked up a little bit smoother than what it was. It wouldn't have been a scot-free rush there for Alontae Taylor and a sack. So that was the first time this season where we've seen them not be so clean in terms of their blitz pickup. That's a thing that I'm sure that Todd Bowles is watching that, saying, okay, we're going to try and push this button and try and load the front up and see if we can cause some miscommunication.
You've Got Davis, the much anticipated follow-up to You've Got Mail.
Yeah, of course. So
You've Got Davis. Before we get to strategy-wise, because the Bucs have a very bad run defense through 3 games, so there's a case to be made that you lean on Saquon in this game. If Lane is out, what would you do? Would you keep Fred Johnson at right tackle and assume that Mekhi Becton's healthy to play right guard, or would you consider letting Becton play right tackle and Steen play right guard?
I actually was wondering if you were going to say put Steen at right tackle.
It's possible.
All right. I guess that would be a third option. I think I'd probably prefer that option to Becton moving to right tackle.
Right. You want to keep if Becton's your guy right guard, you want to leave him at right guard.
That said, I think I would just leave.
I think
I would leave Fred Johnson at right tackle.
Right.
I think that's the way I would go. I said it on the show the other day. I do think that Steen probably had a better game overall. He does a little bit more in pass protection, certainly. But I think Fred Johnson, especially in this game, if you do want to lean on Saquon, you want to lean on the run game, if the weather's going to be a factor, I would say leave Fred Johnson in there. I think that he's got some holes in pass protection, but I also don't think that this pass rush up front from Tampa is anything where you're really, really worried about that showing up more often than not. And so, to me, I think I would lead Fred Johnson in there.
Okay, now I was going to ask you about Will Shipley this week, but we also have a super chat from Jack who says, will we see 22 personnel to get the best players out there this week? What do you make of that possibility?
Possibly.
I don't know that 22 is doing much for me.
Yeah. I think that you'll see them mix things up. I don't know that it's doing. I agree. I don't know that that's that's really getting my gears going.
But do you think juice in the passing game wise, who's doing more for you if you put Will Shipley in the slot or if you're going to play Paris Campbell a lot?
Honestly,
maybe Shipley. Right?
Maybe Shipley.
I know one guy stinks.
But the thing is that if you start doing some of the pony stuff. You can't. You're not marrying that. You're dating that. You're talking 3-4 plays. Maybe you do it for a drive, and you live in that and you go hurry up and you try and catch them, and you do a couple things that way. That's what they did in Week 1 when we saw that package against the Packers. I think maybe if you want to expand on that, maybe you do it twice, and you have a couple plays. But that's the thing. You're talking about an 8-play sequence. There.
Yeah, I think I'm afraid that we're gonna be seeing a lot of Stoll in this game.
Honestly, they should.
Yeah.
And I think that Calcaterra. He can give you something as a pass catcher, but I think if we're going to talk about this game being more of a run game, then I think you should see more stuff.
Well, the reason that is the case is through 3 games, the Tampa Bay Bucs run defense, Fran, 31st in EPA per rush, 30th in success rate against the run. So they have been very bad.
Uncharacteristic, by the way.
And so why is that?
Well, I think when you look at certainly last week, the injury to Vita Vea hurts.
Sure.
Right? You lose Vita Vea, that's going to impact your ability to defend the run. I think that they've gotten older in some spots. They've had some turnover in other spots. So, no Antoine Winfield Jr., and I know he's known as like a playmaker, but he's also extremely aggressive playing downhill. They have Christian Izien, the second-year player who was their nickel corner last year. He's playing at safety in Winfield's spot. And he's a nice player. I like his competitiveness, but he's not. It's his first year playing at safety, and so there have been some missed opportunities there for them. Tyke Smith is their nickel corner, Philly kid, but a rookie playing in the nickel. He's put in some of those unadvantageous situations. So I think when you're looking at their back 7 as a whole, they're not getting what they want. And then just up front, you're missing Kalijah Kancey as well. He has not played for them. He was their first-round pick a year ago. Off the edge, Shaq Barrett kind of aged out on them, but then they have Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who is playing for them, and he's not giving them much as a run defender right now either.
It's too bad. I liked him.
I did too, and he's got moments. He's a useful player for them, but he's just not an impact player. So, I think that's why I think at this point you're looking at them and saying, all right, they're not a high-level run defense that we've come to expect from them in years past, where they could go with a light box, 6 guys in the box and be able to dominate. That's not what you're getting from this group right now.
Is Saquon's usage already on your radar at all?
It's got to be a little bit of a concern.
Because we were talking about the Gainwell play. It maybe even if it's not all the way on Gainwell, it does, like, Saquon is so good on third down in those
Yes.
pass protection. Like, he shouldn't be coming off the field on those plays, and hopefully those plays don't take as much, like, wear and tear on him.
Yep.
And so maybe first and second down, you want to mix in somebody else a little bit. But yeah, are you concerned?
I would say that you're in a no-win situation there if you're the coaching staff and if you're Kenny Gainwell, because anytime you're going to see the number 14 jersey out there,
right.
You're like, why is 26 not in there?
Right.
Why is Saquon
it happened
Barkley
after that long run in week 2? Right?
Yes, right. He gets
the
it down
zone,
there, and then Barkley goes in, or Gainwell goes in, and it's 2 runs, and then they end up having to kick a field goal, right? Or something along those lines. So I think when you're looking at it, you have to be judicious about your usage of Saquon Barkley. But you also have to know, like, there are some games where you're going to have to lean on him. And I think that this is going to be one. If you don't have A.J. Brown, if you don't have DeVonta Smith, this is a game where you're going to have to dial up Saquon Barkley. And I think that that's that situation where, you know what, when everybody's healthy, maybe we kind of pull the reins back a little bit and we don't lean on him as much. But I feel like in this one, you almost have to do it.
Yeah. Okay. I want to have a Jahan Dotson conversation, Fran, because we're talking about, they're going to be without A.J. Brown. They're going to be without DeVonta Smith, all this stuff. Like, they're going to be DOA in the passing game. I know it's early. I know it's only been 3 games. That you got to give the guy a little bit of time. But Jahan Dotson has been the worst receiver in the league this year.
The least productive receiver in the league.
Yeah, the least productive receiver in the league. Okay. He had 1 catch for 6 yards that was taken away for penalty, right?
Yep.
But 0.15 yards per route run of the 58 receivers who have run at least 75 routes. That's dead last by far. To give you context, Jack Stoll was almost twice that last year. Quez was 5 times that. Julio Jones was 3 times. Like,
because he's an every down player.
Because he's an every down player.
Yep.
And he's running a lot of routes, and they're not throwing him the ball.
Not targeting him. Yes.
A couple questions. Do you think that this is more of a Jalen thing, because this has been the case with those third receivers for a long time? He doesn't throw them the ball.
Right.
Or is it more likely that the Eagles have bought a lemon here?
I think it's more a Jalen Hurts / new guy to the offense. We want him out there. He's our most talented number 3 option, but we're not going to put him first or second or third in the progression more often than not. We've seen from Jahan Dotson so far, he's been heavily used as like the clear out guy, the motion guy. He's a decoy, essentially. That's what he's been for the first couple of weeks. On those pick plays to Dallas Goedert, on those mesh plays, he's the guy setting up for Dallas Goedert. So that's kind of been his usage over the course of these 3 weeks. Now, that said, a week ago, we were like, all right, how do they get Dallas Goedert more involved? Why isn't Dallas Goedert more involved? And it's like, all right, well, they have to dial up plays for him. This would be a scenario where, all right, they kind of have to dial up some plays for Jahan Dotson. In watching him, and I'm not studying with great intent every single route that he's running.
Every
he's not
clear out
route,
right, yeah.
But on the routes that I've noticed him, I don't think it's not like he lacks juice.
Okay.
I think he's got
there's
something
hope
there. I think the route running's there. Like I think he looks fine. So I think it's just a matter of when they start to dial things up for him, does he come through? Does he make those plays when his number is called? This isn't to me like Bryce Huff, where with Bryce Huff, in this game against New Orleans, he gets pulled from the lineup early on, and he played 18 snaps, and a lot of them were pass rush snaps, and there are a handful where it's third down and they tilt the front one way, and it's one-on-one, him and Trevor Penning. You're like, all right, this is it. This is time to see it. And he gets blocked. Or he's one-on-one with the tight end in pass protection. He's like, all right, this should be the place where you win. And he's blocked one-on-one. I don't see
That's
that
not
problem.
what you're seeing with Dotson
That's not
so
what
far.
I'm seeing with Dotson. I think it's more of an opportunity thing. And so now he's got to prove it. When he gets that opportunity, can he come through?
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole reason they traded for him. For
this situation.
For this situation. If guys go down. I mean, I know it's a new offense, but he's a third-year player. Like, he's not a rookie. He's only here for 2 years. He gave up a third-round pick. He's played 10% of the games he's going to play with the team. Like, it's time. Let's go. Let's see it.
Yeah, I think that the numbers, all the efficiency numbers are going to be terrible because because he's of where he was slotted in terms of the target tree. So now that he is not going to be slotted, if you don't have
to
AJ
me, it's
DeVonta,
less about like Jahan Dotson needs to pick it up, and more about like you gave up a third-round pick,
right?
Let's go. Like otherwise, it's already very early starting to look like a bust of a trade.
Yeah, I think that I'm reserving judgment on it until we see basically how a game like this plays out.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else on this side of the matchup that is worth talking about? Who's the aside from like the blitzes that are coming.
Yep.
Who's the player that they are most worried about in the meeting room this week?
Yeah, I think that you look at their secondary. So I mentioned they move on from Carlton Davis, who was their number one corner. Jamel Dean has now been that guy, and he's been a travel player for them. And so doesn't seem like he's going to travel with anybody this week. Yeah. I can't imagine he's going to travel with Jahan Dotson.
Traveling with Calcaterra.
Yeah, he did it with
travels with Calcaterra.
That's a nice little feature. Should work on that. Week 2 against Detroit and Amon-Ra St. Brown. We saw Jamel Dean do that. He did it last week as well against Cortland Sutton. But I'm going to be honest. I think that I don't know if he's fighting an injury or if he's not moving to the level that Jamel Dean usually does. And so I think you can kind of pick on him a little bit there. He's always kind of been an up and down corner anyway. On the other side, Tristan McCollum's brother, Zion McCollum, is the other starter. Now, Zion McCollum, both of them tested really, really well coming out of college when they came out of Sam Houston State. And I just never saw it with Zion. I think that you could see the athletic tools, but he didn't always play that way. And his eyes were always really, really bad, especially early on in his career. I remember watching him in preseason games and watching him when he did get some mop-up duty. And you could go after him with double moves. His eyes would always be in the wrong place. First couple weeks of the year, I was like, all right, like he's kind of turned a corner. He did some really good stuff. I know Next Gen put out a couple stats on him recently where that kind of backed that up in terms of how often he was around the football and being able to defend passes. He was like in terms of like EPA when targeted, his numbers were really, really good according to Next Gen. This week against Denver, some of the bad stuff with McCollum showed up again, where they ran a cover 0 blitz, and his eyes were in the backfield, and he completely lost the guy that he was defending, and the receiver just toasted him for a big play. I think you can get after him with his eyes. The safety Jordan Whitehead, you can get after him with his eyes. I mentioned Christian Isian. He's the second-year player, former undrafted free agent from Rutgers. He's playing safety for the first time. You can get after him with his eyes. You have a rookie slot corner. You can get after him. So I think that there are opportunities there with the amount of zone coverage that they play. Where look at the end of the day, if you've got a receiver running, if Paris Campbell's running a through route and you've got Johnny Wilson running a dig, it doesn't matter that Johnny Wilson's like a rookie. Like if right place, right time, like come out and make a big play. I think that there's opportunities there for these pass catchers to make some plays against the secondary. But you got to protect against the blitz.
Does it give you a little bit of a pep in your step to be able to just say, I never really liked that guy. Never really saw it with that guy.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Because I couldn't speak that way.
Couldn't have said that before
previously. No,
I never really saw it with Zion McCollum.
Yeah, well, that's like something like 4 people would probably care about anyway. So like the juice wasn't really worth the squeeze before anyway.
But that could be bulletin board material, Fran. You can't be saying that. That's going to give them a huge edge.
Well, hey, look, if you want more notes like that, we just posted on all PHLY my unscripted notes from the opponent. Yes, you got to be a diehard to get my unfiltered notes on the Tampa Bay Bucs on both sides.
Inside the mind of a Fran Duffy.
Scary place.
All right. If you had a root canal yesterday and you needed to go pick up some antibiotics, you probably need a pharmacy. Well, Rite Aid has pharmacy services for you to make things so much easier. You can refill your prescriptions, schedule a vaccine, get personalized care recommendations, sign up for prescription notifications, and all you need to get started is a prescription at Rite Aid. Get started at riteaid.com/mypharmacy. Stop stressing about your prescriptions. Let Rite Aid refill them automatically. Enroll in automated courtesy refills. It's free, easy, and most prescriptions qualify. Off screen right now, you can't see it. Fran is taking a sip from the biggest jug of water. It's like a well that they built for a small community, and Fran fee-fi-fo-fummed his way in there and took it out from all the poor people who need that water. Manage prescriptions with the Rite Aid mobile app. Transfer or refill your prescriptions, set up medication reminders, enroll in prescription notifications. You can sync it up, so if your family are getting a bunch of different prescriptions, let's make that a one pickup deal. I mean, what are we doing? Transfer your prescriptions to Rite Aid today. Just go to riteaid.com/transfer. Rite Aid caring pharmacists are ready to answer your questions and help you stay healthy. Get your prescriptions along with anything at Rite Aid you may need, including over-the-counter medicines, household products, cosmetics, and more. Just ask your pharmacy team for details. Restrictions apply.
Well, now that Bo's done talking about antibiotics, let's now talk about our friends at Z-Biotics.
What a pro.
I've told you before about a product that I've used before, a night out, where I know I'm going to have a few drinks, and it's called pre-alcohol. Because let's face it, I'm getting up there. I'm in my upper 30s, and I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. And I got to make a choice. You can either have a great night or you can have a great next day. That is until I tried pre-alcohol. Now, Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. And here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Look, I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit on the fence about pre-alcohol when I heard about it. I said, I'll try it this one time. I was hanging out with some friends right before the season kicked off. We went out in the boat.
Your boat trip.
The boat trip.
Right
before the season kicked off. And believe me, it's the real deal. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol, and I wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I believe the hype. And with their GMO technology, they will release different products that help address toxic byproducts of modern living in the gut. Go to zbiotics.com/PHLY Eagles to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use PHLY Eagles at checkout. Z-Biotics is backed with 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked.
Now, somebody in the chat mentioned something that I had forgotten that I wanted to bring up to you, but I do need to bring it up now.
Okay.
Now, Jalen All Day Sicko Dio Made says, I care and I am a diehard. That's in reference to the Zion McCollum conversation. He says, Journey to the Draft, best draft podcast. Now, I don't, it was on Anthony's show or something like this. Or so I don't know if it was written or when you said it, but you said, I started the Journey to the Draft podcast.
I don't think I said I started.
You started the Journey to the Draft podcast?
We started.
What? You? Alone?
By myself? I don't remember saying
Are you
I
kidding
started.
me?
I don't remember saying I started.
I got to find it because I remember.
Someone may have said that you started. And maybe I
think it might have been your first appearance on Anthony when you were like explaining all the things that you had done over the years.
I don't know if I
I bet somewhere Chris McPherson heard the same thing and was punching his steering wheel as well. Like, you?
I think we got to check the tape on that. I don't think I would have said that.
I don't think I would have been offended if you had said it the right way.
My guess is that Anthony may have said that you started.
No, he didn't know what that podcast was.
Well, I had to offer some talking points.
You said I started.
I don't know about that.
You didn't say we. You started the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast.
It's true.
You did not start the Journey to the Draft podcast.
We started. I'm not disagreeing with you on it.
I'm gonna have to comb through and see if we can get a clip of this.
Yes.
Another super chat from the same man, JASDO. I care. Oh no. Oh, he went super chat to get his one read after I had already read it.
Oh,
so wow, what a
beautiful
guy. Nice job. Look forward to draft coverage here. He says,
yes.
Fran, as are we all. Okay. Let's talk about the other side of this matchup.
Okay.
And boy, was that Bucs offense a horror show to watch last week. I mean, that was ugly.
It's not. It hasn't been fun all season, but
okay.
Specifically last week was not good.
Yeah, I mean, like their offensive line is a sieve. Every single one of those guys is giving up pressure. I mean, even Tristan Wirfs, like Nick Bonito is getting after Tristan Wirfs.
I think Wirfs is hurt. I think he's dealing with that. Yeah, and their injury list was long this week. Yeah, he was limited in practice on Wednesday with a knee, and you can kind of It was week one, and I was like, he doesn't look like he's moving to the level that he normally does. He got beat by a bull rush this week against Denver. Probably the player
Nick
mentioned,
Bonito,
by Bonito.
And he's not a bull man.
No, so it's.
And then the next play, I think is he beats him around the outside and tips the ball.
Yeah, I think Wirfs is dealing with clearly with this knee injury. So Luke Gedeke is the right tackle. He's been out the last 2 weeks, and they put in
supposedly getting back.
Yeah, supposedly getting back. But Justin School, number 77, was the right tackle in his place. And
took him to school
2 weeks in a row. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson. I think Hutchinson had 4 sacks in the game in week 2. So
but I mean, Cody Mock is getting beat at right guard. Graham Barton is like, is a rookie, but he's not perfect yet. And And who's
Ben
the left guard?
Bredesen, who
yeah.
was the Giants decided they wanted to move on from last year. So like
Right.
that, and they were like a historically bad offensive line. They're
like
type,
Ben Battison.
Their type outside of Tristan Wirfs, because Tristan Wirfs is like a freak show. All the other guys, their type is
White guys.
yes. What it's like not overly traitsy, gritty, tough.
Yeah, Penning
like,
types.
No, well, Penning at least was like a big, he was like big and powerful, big, strong, powerful caveman. Like these guys don't even like have that. They were like fun players that I liked, but they've got a whole group of them. And I made that point at my previous stop going into the games last year, where it was such an interesting juxtaposition looking at the Eagles' defensive front, where Jalen Carter, Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, like all these guys that have like these superhuman traits, and they are all like really traitsy players, versus going up against a group of, I don't know, kind of like average Joe offensive linemen. And I think that's you saw that play out honestly in both matchups where the Eagles defensive front was able to win a large majority of those matchups.
And Barton is an interesting one because if you were doing the alternative histories, if the Eagles go offensive line, that would have been their pick at 22. Right?
I do love Barton.
Yeah, and he's a versatile guy, can play all 5 positions in theory, right? And so that is a path they could have gone down. I think right now we feel pretty good about the way the Quinyon Mitchell's is looking, and they did a good job there. But, I mean, even like the structure of the passing game looked very boring. Baker is ditching the pocket quickly. Their running game is not very good, 23rd in EPA per rush, 29th in rush DVOA. I mean, Rachaad White's not scaring anybody. So what is scaring Vic Fangio this week?
I think that we'll probably see more Mike Evans. I think they're going to make it a point to get him the football. I don't know if you saw the quote from Todd Bowles after the game last week against Denver.
I did not.
He basically called out Liam Cohen and said, like, we're not doing a good enough job getting Mike Evans the ball. I'm disappointed that we're not finding ways to get him the ball.
Interesting.
In the post-game presser. So my guess is they're going to be feeding Mike Evans targets, and so you want to try and deter that from happening as best you can. I thought the Eagles did a decent job of doing that the last 2 games last year. But Evans is a guy that he can beat you in a lot of different ways. He can get over the top. He can win above the rim. I also think he's just a very underrated route runner. He does have the ability still to run away from you in the open field, despite the fact that he's in his 30s at this point. But I think when you're looking at Mike Evans, that's a player that you want to worry about. But the big thing in comparing last year's offense with Dave Canales to this year's offense with Liam Cohen, they're just not pushing the ball down the field at all. They've got one completion of more than 20 yards down the field. It happened in week 1 to the rookie Jalen McMillan. So right now they are not pushing it vertically down the field. Again, that would be something to watch for as a change of pace from them in this matchup.
They're also not throwing it to Jalen McMillan. He's actually second from the bottom on that list to Jahan Dotson, the guys who's not getting the ball.
Yeah.
They live in 11 personnel.
Yep.
76% of the time, which is the 6th highest rate in the league. And so this week, we are going to see if the Eagles can stop the run against a running game that's not very good.
Yes.
But if they can stop the run in nickel, what are your expectations there?
Me personally, with this offensive line being what it is,
they got to dominate, right?
Yeah, I think you do. I don't think that they're going to need to. I mean, you have it in your bag if you need to. If you want to make that check to go down to that 5 down front and play that 5-1 look, I'm sure they'll do it a few times. I don't know that they're going to necessarily need to do it every single time in this matchup. Cody Mauch, you mentioned, he's really athletic, so he can get up to the second level if you give him that free access to get up to Nakobe Dean and to Zach Bond. Do you need to get him covered up? Is he a guy? He's not as good as Chris Lindstrom, right? He's just not that level of player. And so I don't think that they're going to need to do that. I think when you look at the run game, Bijan Robinson is here and Rachaad White is down here. Like it's from a talent level standpoint, White is a big back. He doesn't run like a big back. He doesn't have great vision. He's running into the back alignment often. Bucky Irving is a guy that's created some explosive plays for them, but everything with him is like the gadgety type stuff. It's all pony personnel or end arounds. There's nothing where it's like, oh yeah, like we're going to put him in the backfield and we're going to run power with him downhill. We haven't seen that from Bucky Irving to this point. So that's kind of you have to worry about the trickeration stuff, but it's all kind of gadgety type stuff where it's like a one play in a vacuum. I don't know that that's going to be the identity of this offense.
And Baker's been taking a lot of sacks.
Yes.
The pressure to sack rate is extremely high.
Yep.
He's been getting hit. I think it might have been on the Inside the League podcast. Maybe that's when you said it.
Could be.
I got to listen to that.
Now you got to go listen to the show.
Drive off the road.
I still don't think I said I started it.
I don't think my ears would have perked up if you hadn't said it that way.
If I said it, then I apologize. I don't think
I want a handwritten note of apology to Chris McPherson and myself. Yeah, so I mean, like
the run game doesn't scare you.
Now we haven't talked about the weather.
Yep.
There's a chance that this is going to be a nasty weather game.
Yep.
I would imagine that bodes well for the Eagles.
Yes, I think it plays into their hands.
Right. Yeah, and I mean now Baker has flashy moments. You know, he can make some big throws, but yeah, it's hard to be. Now listen, this is coming a long way from the Eagles had one of the worst defenses in football the first 2 weeks. But I think it's okay to feel okay about this side of the matchup.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about the pressure stuff with Baker, and I've never been a big Baker fan. I think that he has really turned a corner these last couple of years. I think that Canales had him playing the best ball of his career last year. And when you look at him, he has the ability both to operate when things are clean and just point and shoot. Just this is where you're going, work the side of the field and go. A lot of the stuff where we say like this is not Jalen Hurts' strong suit, like that's where Baker Mayfield has that ability to kind of thrive. But then also he could be like that helter-skelter, run around, drop his eyes, and kind of make a play. But if you're the Eagles, that's the way you want him to play. You want to lean into that version of Baker because that's where he can give you the ball. That's where it can create some turnovers. Now, I was looking through some next gen stuff last night, and next gen stats says Baker Mayfield leads NFL quarterbacks right now with a completion percentage of 65% and a 122.3 passer rating when he's under pressure. So when he's under pressure, he's been efficient.
If he throws it.
If he throws it, that's the big thing. You have to be able to get him down. So that to me, like that's when you go to my notes, which are on allphly.com right now, the number one thing for me is like pressure is not enough in this game. Last week they had one sack of Derek Carr. They pressured him all day.
And they're getting blitzed at a very high rate too. I think first in the league,
which is also that was the opposite from last year. But if you look at this offense, you look at Baker Mayfield. Pressure's not enough. You have to be able to get him down. You want 3, 4, 5 sacks in this game if you're the Eagles defense. That's. I mean, you want that every week, but in this one, I don't think pressure is enough because Baker Mayfield has shown that he can get the ball out and be successful, be efficient.
Where are you at on Nolan Smith right now?
Where I was
because I mean, there's so much focus on Bryce Huff.
Yeah,
obviously he is disappointing. He looks borderline unplayable. But Nolan Smith is a second-year first-round pick, late first-round pick, not a top 10 player. Someone if you had predicted was going to be the first of the Eagles' first-round picks. That would not qualify, but he was a 30th, 31st overall.
On your many arguments with Zach, that is one I'm definitely on your side with. Absolutely can't take credit for
completely morally bankrupt. Yeah.
Here's why I'm on Nolan Smith. Could be biased because I was really high on him coming out.
Yeah.
But understanding, like when I go back through my notes and read through my notes on him when he was at Georgia, this was the area where I thought he would need the most time, was just the overall pass rush plan and just kind of getting it all together. All the traits are there. He can win with power. He can win with speed. He can win with effort. He can win with he has shown that he's got some nice moves like in a vacuum. He just doesn't always put it together every single play. And so I've also seen that position, that arc, like that can take some time. I've talked about the Josh Sweat plan off the edge. Year one, you kind of redshirt. Year two, you show flashes. And year three, you start to break out, and that's when you get paid in year 4. Nolan Smith, he's in year 2 of that plan, where you're hoping to see flashes. He's defending the run really, really well. First, I thought you said
show flaccid, in which we'll talk about that on tomorrow's show.
Stay tuned for that one, I guess. But no, I think that if you're looking at Nolan Smith, yes, you would like him to be producing more as a pass rusher right now because they need it. They don't have that guy. But if you're just looking at him as, all right, second-year player, young rusher, he's defending the run really well.
He's playing hard.
He's
no
playing
doubt.
hard. I think that's suitable, and you're hoping that he can turn into more, certainly by the time we get to midseason or after.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we're going to bring on Zach in a minute, but before we do that, I'm going to tell you about sucking it back. So after you take that Z-Biotic, you know what comes next. An ice cold Miller Lite. Because a lot has changed over the years, but one thing that hasn't is the goddamn great taste of Miller Lite. Another thing that hasn't changed is that it remains less filling. So what is the best thing about the original light beer? Well, Miller Lite sparked this debate in 1975. We still haven't settled it, and guess what? Doesn't matter. Por qué no los dos? Have it both ways with Miller Lite. Miller Lite keeps it simple. Undebatable quality, great taste, only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most, a light beer that tastes like beer, less filling, and only 96 calories. The original light beer since 1975. You don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLYBirds, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
Well, Bo, it's about that time, and that means it's time to talk about game time. Exciting times in Philadelphia as the Phillies clinch the NL East this week. Phillies fans everywhere preparing for a Red October. Maybe you're on the hunt for some of those Phils tickets. Maybe you're on the hunt for concert tickets or whatever it is that you're into from a live event standpoint. Well, Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Now, Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you do not have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Everyone who's ever bought tickets online knows that's probably the worst part of the entire process. No one's got time for that. My wife, she's a concert person. I obviously love going to live sports. We all know someone who's a fan of comedy. Maybe you're looking to get into a comedy act. Whatever it is, Game Time Picks has you covered because it makes it that much easier to save more on whatever live event that you're looking for. But wait, Bo, because there's more. 'Cause with Game Time, you've got great features like all-in pricing. You know what you're paying for when you click on your tickets. No surprise add-ons at checkout there. Seat views, you can get that panoramic view from your seat in the app before you hit buy. And then, of course, the lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. You are not going to beat that anywhere. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time.
Franchise. Let's bring him on.
Let's do it.
The author of the franchise Philadelphia Eagles, a curated history of the birds. Uh-oh. Did you get the memo? Turns out it's vest season. ZB is in the house, and he has started to dip into that array, that deep array of vests. Mr. Fallman is here. How you doing, ZB?
Bo, I missed you. I haven't been on the set with you in 3 days. I missed Julia. I hear Julia's laugh in the background. I'm doing no Fran. I saw Fran on Tuesday, but it's great seeing Fran. Fran, I got to tell you, Fran's creating some insecurities in my life right now because his stuff is so good and he's so prolific that it's like I can't keep pace. Every day there's like a really well done piece on allphly.com. Become a diehard. I'm becoming a show for that. But like, you know, I used to be able, you know, Bo is so good, like so talented, but I could say, all right, I'll beat Bo in the volume, right? Like Bo will get the quality, but I'll win on the quantity, right? Fran is knocking it out of the park every single day. So yeah, it's awesome.
He almost did it again, and then
he is doing it again. He is doing
That's
it again.
That's a compliment. Isn't that a compliment? That's a compliment. Bo's work is awesome. It's awesome. I say that all the time. And it's great hearing Joya's laugh again. I'm happy she's back.
All right, Zach. What is the do we have any update on the injury front?
Yeah. Yes, I just came off the practice field.
How'd you do?
And they're still practicing as we speak. Well, I did well because I was using my eyes for the show. I pulled a Bo Wulf and that I didn't have to watch the stretching. I went right over to where I knew the offensive line was going on the Thursday. Yeah. You know, they come from the far field because I needed to see this. Okay. So first off, DeVonta Smith and AJ Brown, not practicing, not at practice. So it's not looking good for them for this weekend's game. Lane Johnson at practice, present, but not practicing. But in Jersey, running, he just didn't have his helmet on, was running around, ran from stretching to the O-line area. So this shows you that he's progressing through the protocol. Don't know what stage he's at, but I wouldn't necessarily rule him out. Now, if you were wondering, with a full week here to prepare, would the offensive line look different without Lane? No, it was Fred Johnson in at right tackle. Fred Johnson was the right tackle. It wasn't like they moved Becton over. It wasn't like Steen was at right tackle. No, it was Fred Johnson. Also punt returns. Britton Covey is not. He's going to be out 6 weeks, right? He's on IR. Cooper DeJean was first up there. So it's kind of the lineup notes. There's no other injuries of note per se. There's stuff we'll continue to monitor here, but Slay's fine. I spoke to Slay today. It really is about right now. It really is about DeVonta Smith, AJ Brown, and Lane Johnson.
Where is your mindset when it comes to AJ at this point for Sunday? Do you feel like just probably not going to happen?
Yeah, I'm not anticipating AJ playing, especially with the bye after this week. I figured he would be practicing or at least a partial participant in practice, but no, he is. He's not out. He's not out there now. Hasn't been in the locker room. I saw him in the players' lounge in the back today, so he's in the building. We obviously saw him at the game on Sunday, but I don't anticipate him playing this weekend. I'm expecting it to be Jahan Dotson, Johnny Wilson, Paris Campbell, and then I'm curious what you guys think. If it's John Ross, if it's Danny Gray, I would think the only reason to bring a veteran like John Ross to the practice squad is if you have designs around playing him, but we'll see. But they need a fourth wide receiver for this weekend.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're going to play John Ross, but yeah, I don't know.
I feel like if they were going to
who
be
would the fourth be?
It
You
would
think?
be Ross.
Yeah.
If they were going to call any of those guys
Well,
up.
It's got to be one of them, right? I mean, they need at least four out there, so it's got to be at least one of them.
What else is going on just in general over there, Zach? How you doing?
No, I miss you. I'm genuine when I say
clear
that.
Today.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure I closed all my tabs. There are no
nice.
There are no other tabs. I came here early to make sure the connection was strong. It was a little fuzzy when I jumped on, but we're at a good spot right now. I miss being in studio. I'm envious of both of you guys right now. But it was a good day in the locker room. Spoke to a number of different players. I spoke to a lot of guys yesterday too. So I have a notebook coming out tomorrow. Finally have a piece up on PHLY.com coming up tomorrow. I'm trying to keep up with Fran here. Spoken in here's an interesting nugget. No, it wasn't meant like that. I was complimenting Fran. I was pumping up Fran. And I say that as the video gets fuzzy again. Paris Campbell. This is interesting. Paris Campbell, he talked a lot about having to swallow his pride, right? When he got cut, he did not want to come back to the Eagles. He was pretty pissed off, as you would imagine. He said, they called him up. He said he's not going to join the practice squad. He would see if there was another team that was interested in him, right? And then he said he prayed on it. Nick Sirianni called him, and he decided to come. And now here he is, week 4, and he's gonna have a big role in the game. So it was interesting hearing that perspective. Spoke to Jalen Carter a lot today. Jalen Carter. There's a little color here. There's a sack celebration he has with Jordan Davis that he was frustrated he wasn't on the field when Jordan Davis had that sack because they've been working on this celebration together. But Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter's like he's not that impressed with how he played. He's impressed with how the defense played. I asked him the question that I asked Fran the other day about the Tampa game last year. Like it's the way he played then. Says he's a much better player now than he was then. He's going. This is the closest game to his hometown. He when he thinks like the great defensive tackles, he thinks of Warren Sapp among them. Right? He played on the night Warren Sapp was honored last year. That was the lead of my story on allphly.com last year. So, he's eager for that game. Fred Johnson. I had a nice conversation with Fred Johnson about playing the right side and the left side during these practices. And he says he really spends about like 75% of his time on the left side, 25% of the time on the right side. So he really doesn't focus on the right as much. He does it just to kind of keep fresh. And so when I spoke to Jordan Mailata, Jordan was really impressed with the way Fred played on the right side in that game. Jordan said that Fred did it better than he could have done it back when he stepped in. Now Jordan said that. I think that's Jordan being a little modest. We all remember when he played decently on the right side back in 2020, but that's kind of what he brought up. Jordan Mailata, because there's all these questions about stopping the blitz, right? You're facing the Bucs. This was the big issue last year, and I asked Jordan, you told us how sick you were of questions about last season, at the end of the summer. Beyond the way last season ended, the question you got asked the most was the blitz. Like, are you ready to kind of put this to bed this week with that type of performance? And he says he kind of views that differently. He thinks they need to play up to the standard on the blitz. He's ready to kind of show that they can do it. He says it's something that they're continuously working on. And speaking to Jalen Hurts yesterday, interesting answer from Jalen, because if you remember, after the regular season game last year, he said that he had not put that playoff game out of his mind, right? And the memory of it was really lingering with him. Exactly. Yep. And so I asked him, going into this game, do you feel the same way about last year's game? And he didn't dismiss the question. He thought about it for a moment, and he said, yes and no. I don't want to tell you why, but yes and no. Or I can't tell you why, but yes and no. So maybe there were like other circumstances with the coaching staff last year. But so like maybe he kind of absolved himself of that performance, right? I mean, if you're reading between the lines,
interesting.
That's something that came up, right? Like he doesn't totally view that as like a performance that's an indication of him.
Doesn't sound accountable.
I mean, that's just me kind of projecting. Sure. I don't know if that's the case. Speaking to Saquon Barkley about his workload, and
what an impressive monologue,
he's not concerned
knowing that he wasn't
point.
getting good questions from us to just tell you everything he wanted to say.
I always get questions from you guys. I thought you said
best host in the city.
Am I doing something wrong here?
I was going to. You're doing a good job, because my follow-up was going to be Paris Campbell swallowed his pride. Did he also choke on the rinds?
I'm missing the
Did
joke.
The lack thereof leave him empty inside? Did he swallow his doubt, turn it inside out?
Is that a song?
No, he does not know what that is.
I'm sorry, what is that?
Eagles,
is that something I should know?
They put his poor tender heart in a blender.
Eve 6, Zach.
Eve 6. I'm so lost right now. I'm so lost. This was I've tried listening to all the shows. Is there something that I'm missing from the show?
No.
You were. I'm basically saying you were right to just continue talking about what you wanted to talk about. Because the other thing I had planned is the other thing that I was working on while you were talking, Zach, is Julie, if you want to flash this up, this tweet from Z-Burn. Food $200. Data $150, rent $800, vests $3,600, utility $150. Someone who is good at the economy, please help me budget this. My family is dying. Talk about multitasking.
The economy. I have two vests, though. Two vests, a black and a blue. Okay?
There is no way you only have two vests.
Well, I previously had different vests, different style vests that Emily said that they were swimming on me, that I had to get slimmer vests. Oh. So about a year and a half ago, I changed the vest brand from what I got on Amazon basically to now this is a Lululemon vest, and so I have two of these. I have a black one and I have a blue one. Okay, that's all. Why are we talking about this? Okay, Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley. Okay.
Seamless transition.
It was interesting. He said 10 carries. He said sometimes you can hurt more after 10 carries than you can after 30, or after 10 touches than 30 touches. It really depends on like the way you're getting hit. And he said he had a good conversation with Fred Taylor about like getting hit, avoiding injuries, because that was something Fred Taylor dealt with early in his career, and it's something that he's really studied how to take hits. I asked, the team put up a graphic about him being the leading rusher. I've heard like Saquon Barkley leading the league in rushing. I asked him, at what point in the season do you start paying attention to that? And he says you don't. He says you need to focus on the process, and then like the results will take care of themselves. So that's kind of a generic answer, but he says he truly adheres to that. I have a few other stories that I've been working on there. I do want to say, without saying what the story is, I'll give you. Bo will appreciate this. I was talking to Kenny Pickett. Okay, I did not say Michael Dunn said hello. I should have said Michael Dunn said hello, but I haven't spoken to Michael Dunn about it. But I said, I interviewed him for something that I'm working on. Okay. And then I said, by the way, Kenny, I just want to let you know I did a pre-draft story on you. And I stopped at Gianni's and I had the chicken vodka wrap. Okay. And his reaction was the opposite of Chip Kelly's when I told Chip Kelly I went to his hometown. Okay. Chip Kelly looked at me back in 2013 and said, why would you ever do that? Okay. And then walked away. Kenny, to his credit, looked up and said, how good is that chicken vodka wrap? Right? We're like, how awesome is that? And I'm like, Kenny, it was great. It was, it hit the spot. It was terrific. They spoke so highly of you there. Yeah, it was a nice conversation with Kenny Pickett. So next time I see him, I will tell him that Michael Dunn said hello.
So let me ask you this, Zach. Between the chicken vodka wrap, P-Rows, the Bojangles in Javon Hargrave's hometown. Ooh. What's the best food that you've gotten as trying to pretend to be the person that you're writing a story about?
I love this question. This is such a good question. Man, some of them are more. So I'll say the last on this list was Nick Sirianni.
Carson Wentz's seat that you were sniffing?
He sniffed the seat, but that restaurant was actually Nick Sirianni's was it was like a burger place. It was fine, but it wasn't like the best burger
Jamestown
I ever had. Although I went to a bar there that had it was Mary's Lasagna. And in Jamestown, it was a bar that was owned by a former Eagles football player, or obviously a former Eagles player that's from Jamestown. And Scott Keinberg recommended me go there. And I got to tell you, this lasagna was up there with some of the best lasagna I've ever had.
I feel like lasagna has a pretty narrow band, right? Like high floor, low ceiling for lasagna, I think.
Oh, no, I disagree.
Yeah?
I think you can have a high ceiling lasagna.
Yeah, because you got the ricotta.
I feel like the difference between the best lasagna I've ever had and the worst lasagna I've ever had is probably closer than most foods.
I also think you can have a bad lasagna, too. Yeah, overcook those
noodles.
Overcook those noodles.
Even that's not that bad. Yeah. Still lasagna.
Of all the pastas, I feel like that's got some of the lowest floor.
I guess, but I feel like there's more variance with other pastas.
We'll have to do this.
I don't think the upside of lasagna is sky high.
So here, I'll do. When I was in Houston one year, Connor Barwin recommended a restaurant. It wasn't a story on Connor, but Connor recommended a restaurant that was really good. It was outstanding. So that's up there. Andy Reid recommended a restaurant in Kansas City that I thought was a little overrated, if I'm being honest there. Yeah, I mean, look, Bojangles. I had Bojangles a lot when my first 2 years out of college when I was transversing the ACC. And Bojangles, it's fine, but it's not. That's why. Look, I can't get Cajun mud bugs in Philadelphia, so I got to go with those Cajun mud bugs are up there. But you know what? I'm more of like an Italian food guy, And I got to say that chicken vodka wrap that night, I hadn't eaten all day. That chicken vodka wrap hit the spot. In Chip Kelly's hometown, I had a
better than the nails
I'm
at
not a
Audubon
breakfast
Hardware.
guy. Yeah, I didn't eat those nails, but I did go to. If you read the Inquirer story on that Joe Flacco thing, I went to Audubon Diner that day, and I had a good meal at Audubon Diner. The thing I like about diners is I'm not a big breakfast food guy, and you can get like real food at the diner. But I'm actually gonna put some thought into that, because when I was at the Washington Post, I did a few of these types of stories where. Yes, no, I have to write. I need to write a story tonight, without a doubt. So once I'm taking the kids out for dinner tonight. Once I get home and they go to bed, I am focused on this story.
Make sure you become a diehard and like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff, as we prepare now to get to Swooper Storecasting. Zach, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready. Real quick though, injury report comes out later today. We'll find out the status of that. Nick Sirianni speaks tomorrow. The Bucs have this really extensive injury list. I'm not putting too much stock into that. I just think they're putting everyone on there right now. I'm getting a lot of questions from fans about the weather. Greg Allman, our former partner, Bo and me, he said that the weather should be cleared out by Sunday, even by Saturday when a lot of Eagles fans arrive. But obviously thinking about everyone down there who's dealing with the hurricane.
Well said. All right. We enter the week. Fran has the overall lead with 1.5 points. I have a half point. Zach, you have a goose egg. I have the most turkeys at my disposal this week. I have 29. Zach, you have 24. Fran has 17.
Yes.
It is my turn to go first. Is everybody ready?
I am ready.
All right. My first submission. Zach, before you joined, we were talking about speculating. Will we see a little bit of Will Shipley this week with the Eagles down at wide receiver? Is this an opportunity for him to be a part of the offense? The Swooper submission here is that Will Shipley plays at least 10 snaps on offense, and I will start the bidding at 2. Two going once.
I'll go 3. Sure. I'm not going to let you have it for 2.
3 going once. 3 to Fran going twice.
I'll go 4.
Oh, 4 to Bo.
I'll let you have it for 4.
4 to Bo. Going once. Going twice.
Zach, no faith in his guy.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Not what I wanted.
You couldn't let me have it for 3.
Yeah.
I do not like operating from a position of not having an excess amount of turkeys here, so I am going to be particularly frugal.
The Eagles run the ball. All right, Fran gets to go second this time.
All right, so for my first one, let's talk through Jalen Hurts and this offense. My first submission, Jalen Hurts throws for at least 1.5 passing touchdowns against the Bucs on Sunday, or he throws for more touchdowns than interceptions in the game. If either one hits, then you get the point.
Now, why would you say at least 1.5 and not just at least 2?
Yeah, good call. All right, so throws for over 1.5 passing touchdowns against the Bucs.
So Jalen Hurts has at least 2 passing touchdowns, or throws for more touchdowns than interceptions in the game.
Yes.
Okay. And what are you nominating?
We're going to start the bidding at 2.
5.
3.
5.
6.
Oh, 6 to Zach.
6 to Zach.
6 to Zach. 6 to Zach going once.
7.
Oh, 7 to Bo. 7 to Bo going
8.
once. 8. 8 to Zach.
Wow, Mr. doesn't like to spend.
Do you guys want some number?
Yeah, what do you got? Let's make it a numbers game.
All right, so in 4 starts against the Bucs and Todd Bowles, Jalen has thrown just 4 touchdowns. Went for 1 touchdown, no picks in the wild card game last year, 1 touchdown and 2 picks in week 3 last year. The Bucs are the only team this year to not allow a passing touchdown.
And we're at 8 right now.
Can I take back that
8? You guys jumped right into the bid. I would offer a little more context.
Yeah.
All right. 8 going once.
Going twice.
You sure you don't want it, Bo?
Sold to Zach Berman.
Big 8.
All right. Can't take him with me, right? Actually, I can.
Yeah.
I am up here.
Actually, you can.
Here you go. Jahan Dotson has more receiving yards than Chris Godwin. And this, of course, is a Penn State item for you.
Okay.
Classic.
So both went to Penn State. You know, I mean, I don't know what stories Martin Frank's working on, but whenever the Eagles play against the Bucs, you know, Chris Godwin, a Delaware guy, gets some attention as he should. And yeah, two relatively local guys. You know, one Lehigh Valley, one Delaware, both Penn State. Godwin's playing real well this year. Dotson is the number one receiver. We'll see. I will start bidding on
he
one.
is the number one receiver?
Well, in
Godwin,
theory,
I
at
guess.
least.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
All right. What's your nomination?
One.
I'll say 2.
I forgot that I have to put the first nomination in. All right.
Yeah.
2 to Bo. 2 to Bo, going once. 2 to Bo, going twice.
It's actually a good
All
buy.
right.
I
mean,
Open for a strained hammy for Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I could. That's the thing. I could see a scenario where this happens, but you know, one big play to Dotson would be all it would take.
All right, we have our first in is. I am down to 23 turkeys. Zach, you're at 16. Fran, you have 17.
Okay. Item number 4. This is a normal auction. I haven't reread these. Okay, so this item sells for more turkeys than the combined number of the points scored in the first quarter.
Ooh, fun one.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Okay, so this item sells for more turkeys than the combined number of points scored in the first quarter. I will bid 1.
One to Bo.
I'll bid 2.
2 to Fran. 2 to Fran going once. 2 to Fran going twice. Sold to Fran.
Okay, so
So I'm hoping for a 0-0.
now it's more, so it's got to be 0 points.
Yeah, 0 points. 0-0.
Okay. All right, my next one. Now, Zach, you are going early to Tampa Bay this weekend, right?
I'm going the same time. I'm going the same time I typically would, but
Okay,
I have.
are you
people
willing to
involved
say
with.
what you're going in a little early for?
Yeah, I'm celebrating my brother Nick, who's getting married this time next month, October next. You know, late October next. I think October 26th, actually. So a month away.
All right, so we got all the Berman bros. We got a Nick Berman bachelor party in Tampa, and so the item here is that at some point before the end of Monday's show, I receive a picture of Zach Berman at Nick Berman's bachelor party. So this is a call out to the Berman brothers to send me such a photo. If you win this item, you could send me the photo yourself. This is also a call out to any sickos who are out on town in Tampa this weekend. If you see a bunch of Bermans, snap a photo, send that bad boy my way. I'm starting the bidding at 1.
3.
Oh.
Oh. 4.
3. Oh, 4 to Fran.
He's miffed.
4 to Fran going once.
Now, this is a good test because I think my supposition is that if Fran wins the item, I'm more likely to receive this photo than if I win the item.
No, that's not true because, well, I don't want to tell you why. Afterwards, I'll tell you. Or I'll tell you. 5.
5 to Zach.
I'm going 6.
I can send the photo too, right?
What's that?
I can send the photo too, right?
Yeah. You can be completely in the tank on this one. You can steal this point.
7.
7
Do
to
we
Zach.
beat him up?
7 to Zach going once. 7 to Zach going twice.
I'm going 8. I want it.
3 point. Yeah.
8 to Bo.
How much is that
You
free
can have
point?
How
worth
much
to
is a
Zach?
free point worth, Zach?
Not enough. Not enough for me to be sending photos of myself around.
Oh, you can send one selfie from the airport.
Oh, 8 to Bo.
That's right. Yeah. You
8
know
to Bo
what?
going
I don't
once.
want to. 9.
Oh, 9 to Zach.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for doing that, Zach.
9 to Zach going once.
It's a good question. I think we should have Deniz do the advanced analytics on what is the cost, or the proper cost of a given point. I'm gonna let you have that, Zach.
Thank you. I was gonna say Lee. My cousin Lee is gonna be there, and I know Lee would be in
Lee
the tank
would
for you,
definitely
Bo.
hook me up.
Yeah. Lee's a boat guy, so Lee would.
Yeah, if I had known Lee was gonna be there, I might have gone to 10.
Yeah, my brothers would be like, "Why are we texting photos of ourselves?" But Lee would be like, "Let's help Swooper here." Yes.
All right, you got it. Over to Fran.
All right, so my second one. This is right up Zach's alley. I do wonder if we have something competing here. But Tom Brady on the call on Sunday. My second submission. Tom Brady will reference or talk about Super Bowl 52 on the broadcast. Now, he does not have to be the one to bring it up, but if he comments on it in any way, it counts. Basically, anything that's north of no comment, like if he awkwardly said he's not talking about it.
But he could say no comment.
But if he says no comment, that's the line.
That counts.
Does not. No, I'm saying that does not count. Everything north of that.
I feel like if he says the phrase "no comment," that kind of counts.
Yeah, the way I looked at it was if he says he just does not. He's I'm ignoring it, no comment.
Yeah.
That's the line I'm going to draw. Anything north of that counts.
Okay.
Did I send that as my? Did I send that as my my number 3? I jumped ahead.
okay.
I jumped ahead on you. But yeah, okay.
All right. You're saying 1?
Yeah. I'm going to start at 2.
Oh. I'll go 3. I feel like a Brandon Graham pressure is the thing that will make it happen.
3 to Bo.
Lee, you dirty dog.
I'll go 4.
4 to Fran.
Yeah, the problem is there aren't that many. I mean, it's really Brandon Graham is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And
Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
he's gonna say I hate the Eagles. So
You think he's going to say I hate the Eagles?
yeah, he'll make a comment about how much he dislikes the Eagles or being popular in Philly, that kind of thing.
Okay.
4
to Fran.
4 going once.
Like Bill Belichick said he has a dartboard. When he was on the Manning cast when Nick Foles was retired, he said that he has a dartboard of Eli Manning and Nick Foles. So there could be a comment like that. But I only have 7 turkeys. So I only have 7 turkeys. I can't be throwing my turkeys around.
Sold.
Sorry about that, Julia.
All right, you got 11 left. Fran, over to you, Zach.
Okay, here you go. The Eagles finish greater than 50% on 4th downs.
On 4th down.
On 4th downs.
Greater, so that requires.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yes.
50% does not count.
So 50% does not count. That's why I did it that way. So 2 of 4 doesn't do anything. 1 and 2 doesn't do anything. But so you're looking at either if they go 1 of 1 or if there's volume and they go 3 of 5, but they have to be greater than 50%. And I will go with 4 or 6.
10 of 11.
I can keep going if you want.
Can't forget 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I will start with 1.
2.
2 to Bo. 2 to Bo. Going once.
I can't let you have it for 2. I'll take 3.
Fran. 3 to Fran. 3 to Fran going once.
Yeah, I'll go 4.
4 to Bo. 4 to Bo going once. 4 to Bo going twice. Sold.
You got it.
Got it.
So get you to 19.
19, 11 for you, 7 for Zach.
Got it.
Over to Deniz.
Deniz, number 2.
All right. This is item number 8. This is normal
that's a
option
long
again.
one.
The Bucs play at least 5 snaps on defense with 6 defensive linemen, including edge rushers, on the field. In last year's playoff game, Todd Bowles used a 6-2-3 defense all 14 times. The Eagles were in 12 personnel.
At least 5 snaps. Cool.
I think the Eagles are
I'm
going
expecting more 12
Good
personnel.
amount.
Yeah.
I'll go 2.
I'll go 3.
3 to Fran. 3 to Fran going once. 3
What's the
to
number?
Fran.
10? 10 total snaps?
5. I think it was 5 snaps.
Oh, at least 5
At least
snaps.
5 snaps.
Okay. Yeah. I don't really want it. 3 going once. 3 going twice. You got it.
Oh man, I feel good about that one.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it, but
Okay.
all right, my last one. At some point in the second half, either team gains as many yards on a play as points that they have on the scoreboard. Okay? So if the Eagles are winning 10-7, the Eagles have a 10-yard gain, or the Bucs have a 7-yard gain, and on and on and on. At any point in the second half that happens, I will open the bidding. Let's say at 3.
It's a fun one.
3.
I'll go 4.
4 to Fran.
Sure. It's a fun one to root for.
Yeah, it's a fun one to root for.
4 to Fran.
I can't believe I'm going to bid more for this than the 6 defensive lineman one, but I am. I'm going to go 5.
5 to Bo.
You can have it for 5.
All right.
All right.
Zach's. We know Zach's checking.
Yeah, no chance. All right. I've got 14 left. 8 for Fran, 7 for Zach.
Okay. All right. So my last one, which should have been my second one. A little pop culture reference for ZB here. This one is special because it comes.
Is it Eve 6?
It comes from a sicko. It comes from the PHLY Discord. So if you're a diehard, you can jump on the Discord and you can impact Swooper.
Look at you.
All right. So
Vince is gonna love you, man. Good job.
Here's the entry. This is from Idiot Sandwich, who's in the chat and on the PHLY Discord.
Yes.
The combined total yards on offense from both the Bucs and the Eagles fails to surpass 654. Now, the number 654 matters because that was it was $654 million box office gross from the 2003 film Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl. So now, for some context, I'll give you some context. So don't jump into the bidding yet. The bidding is going to start at 2. But here's the context. In week 1, 802 yards would have broke it. This would not have hit. Bucs had 392. Eagles had 410. In week 2, this would have hit. Bucs only had 216 yards against Detroit. The Eagles only had 365 against Atlanta. That would have been 581 total yards.
Okay.
Week 3, this would not have hit. 683 total yards. Bucs had 223 versus Denver. The Eagles had 460 versus the Saints. So basically, it has to be fails to surpass 654. So it's 654 total yards or less of total offense in this game between both teams. Bidding starts at 2.
That's the content. So the context you wanted to provide is the amount of yards that the two football teams have put up, as opposed to why we're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, which is
Give it some
because
thought.
there is a pirate
You're
ship.
going to a stadium with a giant
I know, 'cause
pirate
there's-
ship in the end zone.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Listen, there's a pirate ship in the end zone. It's the Buccaneers. I get that. I thought that was the context you wanted to give the audience. Well, that's as opposed to the stats.
Zach, what is a Pirate's favorite letter?
R.
Ah, good.
That's what you think, but it's actually the C.
I like that pirate ship. It's cool. It's a cool feature. I like distinctiveness in stadiums. Yeah, I like distinctiveness.
I'll say 3.
3 for Bo.
3 to Bo.
I'll take 4.
4 to Fran. 4 to Fran going once.
I'll say 5.
Oh, 5 to Bo.
got a lot in this game so far.
5 to Bo going once.
I'll do 6.
Oh, 6 to Fran.
Yeah, I mean, if this is a slop fest game.
Right.
6 to Fran going once. 6 to Fran
It's a
going
Zach
twice.
one next. It's probably 7.
Oh, 7 to Bo.
I'll let you
7 to
have it
Bo.
on 7, but I'm not happy about it.
653 was the number?
Yeah, 654.
Okay.
That's the cap.
Okay.
Yes. Does not pass 664 total yards.
All right. Zach, what's your last one?
So Fran knows me well. Okay, this is similar to Fran's, but not identical. Okay, Tom Brady makes a reference.
I was actually going to do one that was Zach cannot make it through the entire weekend without mentioning the word Tom Brady or writing the words Tom Brady on all PHLY platforms. But
I asked Jalen Hurts about it yesterday. Jalen knew right up. I asked Jalen what he wants to learn in the production meeting from Tom Brady. And you know what he said? What do you think he said?
I don't know.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
He said he's not allowed to be in the production meeting. Jalen knew that right away. So,
yeah, but why did you ask that then?
I didn't realize that. I mean, I realized it when
you didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
How did you not know that?
I remember
Mr. Tom Brady.
Trust me, I felt, and then I apologized to the PR guy, to John. You guys know John.
Wow.
But I said, John, I'm sorry for that production meeting question. Yeah, I was kind of smitten with the idea of Jalen Hurts sitting with Tom Brady, picking his brain. And
that makes
he can't
sense.
be in the production meeting. Yeah. So anyways, what my swooper is Tom Brady makes a reference to Brandon Graham going to Michigan. Note, it must be Brady. It cannot be Burkhardt. So he could say, go blue. He can say a fellow Michigan man. But it has to be from Brady's mouth, something about Brandon Graham going to Michigan. And I will start the reference at 1 or start the fitting at 1.
I don't have any interest in this one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zach.
This is another classic ZB week where you're going to go 0 for 3 on any of these that hit. I don't want you to have it for 1, though.
You don't think he'll say, come on, they're Michigan guys together. Like it's the code.
I guess 2, yeah.
2 to Fran.
Guess you didn't like it, but you bid 2 turkeys.
2 to Fran.
Let's go 3. I need to be in the game. I can't. I have 2 items I like, but I need more than 2 items. So let's go 3.
He can have it for 3.
You got it for 3. All right.
I wonder if I'm going to see Tom in the elevator.
Before we get to the last one, Zach's got 4. Fran has 8. I have 7.
You got 5 entries, Bo.
Wait, say this again.
Zach's got a free.
I have 4. Okay, so I have 4.
Yeah.
Yep. Bo has 8. Fran has 7.
I have 7. Fran has 8.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Buckle up here.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
Surprise.
Oh, no.
Surprise. Items 12 and 13.
Okay.
Sealed bid multi-good auction. All players must submit 2 separate bids at the same time, 1 for each of the 2 items. Players can borrow turkeys from next week to bid. Each item goes to the highest bidder for that item. If there is a tie, the tiebreaker is the highest bid for the other item. If there is still a tie, each player involved in the tie gets equal share of the point. If the
Okay, this is fun.
hits.
Yeah,
Okay, so we
Okay.
have to do 2 blind bids on 2 separate items. Okay, and we can borrow from next week.
Borrow from next week.
I have 7. Fran has 8. Zach has 4.
Okay. And the items. Item 12 is the Eagles win the turnover battle. Item 13 is the Eagles do not win the turnover battle. Parentheses, the Eagles are on an 11-game streak of not winning the turnover battle. They last won it in Kansas City in Week 11 of last season.
And this is fun because it's possible that both don't hit. They could
Correct.
tie the turnover battle.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the chat is probably right that Zach's not going to be bidding on either of these. Okay.
If you bid and you lose, you don't have to. You don't have to give your turn.
No, you only
Yeah.
pay if you win.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Julia, we will all send you ours.
Okay. All right, Zach's is in. Fran's is in.
Okay.
Wow. Suspense was killing me.
Bo's is in.
All right. What do we have, Julia?
Okay, so
Eagles win. Why don't we all say on the
Yeah.
count of three what we said? Eagles win the turnover battle on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
6.
5.
2.
All
Oh,
right.
I get it.
Fran gets it for 6. Okay. Now the Eagles don't win. And Julia, please let us know if somebody's lying.
I
here.
will, of course. Yes.
The Eagles don't win the turnover battle on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, 6.
2.
So that means the tie was who bid more on the other items. So
I got
you get
both.
it. So you get it.
Wow.
So the way
All
I
right.
looked at it was, I think this is going to be a little bit of a messy game on both sides.
Yes.
Obviously you have the whole story of the blitz against the Eagles. Todd Bowles, could he get the best of the protection? That Bucs offensive line's a mess. I think there's a potential for both offenses to be a little messy in this game. So I don't feel good about either team winning the battle. But I wanted to win one of them. I had 8.
If you expect there to be turnovers, then there's a better chance of one of them.
Exactly.
Winning, right?
So I expected there to be turnovers in the game. Wasn't sure which one was going to come out on top. Wanted to win at least one, and I was okay with borrowing turkeys for next week.
All right. Well, let's run this down. Zach, you have somebody sends me a photo of you from the bachelor party. Jalen Hurts has either 2 touchdowns or throws for more touchdowns than interceptions in this game. And Tom Brady mentions that Brandon Graham is a Michigan man. And you have 4 turkeys left over.
Do. That's the Hail to the Victors.
That was Hail to the Victors?
Yes. Yes. You haven't seen the words?
There's no Eve 6.
Hail
but
to
he's got that
the
guy.
Victors family.
Could you give it to us
Hail
one more
to
time?
the conquer heroes. Do.
I mean, that was a little better.
Is that not it?
Fran, you have 0 points are scored in the first quarter. Tom Brady mentions the Super Bowl. The Bucs defense plays at least 5 snaps with 6 defensive linemen. The Eagles win the turnover battle, and the Eagles don't win the turnover battle. And you have -4
Yes.
turkeys that you borrowed from next week. I guess you've borrowed 4. You have -4. I have Will Shipley plays at least 10 snaps on offense. Jahan Dotson has more receiving yards than Chris Godwin. The Eagles are better than 50% on 4th down. There is a play in the second half in which either team has as many yards from scrimmage as points that they have, and there are fewer than 654 total yards in the game, and I have 7 turkeys left over. What a ride. All right, Zach, what are you doing tonight?
Tonight, Emily is out. I am taking the kids out for pizza and ice cream. And then I'm gonna write a notebook. It's gonna lead with Jalen Carter. You're gonna have some information on the wide receivers in there. You're gonna have a little Jack Stoll info. By the way, I should tell you, Jack Stoll, Brent Selleck gave him the blessing of the 87. I figured you would like to know that. There's a handful of other miscellaneous information in there. You'll hear Jeff Stoutland talk about his relationship with Fred Johnson. That's all going to be in these notes. So I will be doing that. And then I need to sign tonight 30 books with inscriptions on it. And then, by the way, I appreciate everyone who has reached out. I am sending a lot of books out on Monday of next week. I need to get the right envelopes to send them in. But
are these 30 books that you're signing tonight? Are they for individual people, or are they like generic signatures? Enjoy the book.
No. Each one has a message. Each one has a personal message. Yeah. So,
who are they for? Are they for specific sickos?
These ones are not for sickos. No, these are for other readers, fans, that kind of thing, listeners, consumers.
We got a side job,
yeah, but not. No. These are people who have reached out to family members for books, and so I need to get them out.
People looking for a handout.
No, they're paying.
Okay, good. Any other? Do you have any other good stories of the week?
The highlight of the night. Good stories of the week
of book reception. Anything interesting as the book has been released? Notes that you've gotten. Anything interesting?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so nice, honestly. I've done a number of I shouldn't say a number. I've done a few events. I had a great interview yesterday with Pat Gowan from CBS 3. I'm excited for that.
Nice.
Talked about PHLY in there. But no, the interactions, I got to tell you, like it is so heartwarming. All the DMs, all the Instagram messages, the emails. It's been awesome. And it's a credit to you, the Fran now, Julia, Bo, or I'm sorry, Sheil, Marissa, because it's people who like feel like they no, but it's people who feel like they know us. I've sent you some of the messages. I say this sincerely. Like it is so heartwarming to hear the role that our show has had in the lives of like some of these listeners. And so when people send that, it's awesome. So yeah, I'm sending that. But it's just been cool hearing from so many people. I gotta say too, I'm gonna give shout like Bo. I know Bo gives me a hard time on this show, and I unintentionally have given Bo a hard time. It actually wasn't the thing today. Was a big compliment to Fran. The thing last, but you should all have a friend like Bo. The first comment on Amazon was from Bo, and that meant a lot. Bo's done an awesome job. No, Bo's done an awesome job promoting the like. I said to Fran the other day, like this is totally not necessary to have the balloons and the banner, but everyone should have a friend like Bo in their life.
What else would awesome. I do? My baby boy wrote a book. We got to celebrate you. It's a tremendous accomplishment.
Thank you.
And also, Zach, the chat will be happy to know that the balloons are still here in the studio. So the balloons are still alive and well.
Are they up in the rafters? Yeah. That's always my fear. Yeah. That's always Emily loves getting balloons. And I'm like, Emily, if these balloons are up there and I can't reach them, like,
they're over here. You can bring them home.
Yeah.
Bring them home tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow when we see you in studio at 2:00 with our friend Inez.
I'm actually not. I'm not in studio
coming tomorrow.
I thought I was going to do every other week. I was going to do Fridays every other week. I was going to do the locker room tomorrow, but maybe I'll reconsider. Look, I'll come in. I will be in studio tomorrow.
No, you don't have to.
I do need to.
Go do whatever you want to do, Zach. Go take a vacation.
It's not whatever I want to do. I'm building relationships in the locker room. There's guys on this team that I don't know that I'm trying. The only way, I spoke to a group recently.
Let's make a deal. You can go to the locker room tomorrow, but you have to promise to get a scoop.
On a Friday? A scoop on a Friday?
I didn't say how big of a scoop it has to be. The scoop could be that Grant Calcaterra is getting ice cream tonight, but you got to get some piece of exclusive reporting information.
That's a scoop on a scoop.
Yeah.
Good job there, Fran. All right, so all I have to do is just talk to someone on his own and get a piece of information to use on the show
that nobody else
100%
has.
Do that.
Nobody else on the beat has.
Come on, that I can do easily.
Okay. Great. Let's do it.
But no, I do miss being in. I haven't been in studio with you all week. I do miss being in studio, but I was going to do every other Friday because just so I can be in the locker room 3 days once every other week. But I'll think about it tonight.
Okay, you do you.
It's not doing me. It's doing my job. I'm trying to. Yeah, I got to build. I was talking to a group recently, and I said the only way to build meaningful relationships is by being there all the time, and like so they start to like familiarize themselves. Like it becomes routine for them to see you, for this short guy to come over and say hello every single week.
All right, you could build whatever. We've gone on too long.
I was going to let you guys. I was going to let this keep rolling.
Yeah, we could have a nice big conversation about the job, but that's okay. Thank you very much, Zach. We look forward to. Are you going to be on the show at some point tomorrow?
Of course, 100%.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, bust out that blue vest so we can see the array. We'll see you then. We thank you for the insight today, and we thank everybody for watching and listening to the episode. Thank you to Julia for making it happen, and Fran for being here in studio. We will talk to you tomorrow. Dane continues the preview of the Bucs with us. We'll hear from Zach and much more. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks to Bet365 for presenting this episode. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.